Hi there, and welcome to your second module, Authenticity and Retail in the New Normal. Now, the idea of authenticity is really rooted in the idea that consumers want to be their most authentic selves, but they're also looking for that mirrored image in the brands that they shop with as well. So let's level set. Some of the early adoptions when it comes to crisis and chaos, retail, and authenticity is the fact that consumers were really striving to have transparency behind the retailers that they were making purchases from. They were also looking for brands that had values that aligned to their own. So what's really next in this space, and what will last? Well, about 94% of global consumers say that it is important for companies that they engage with to have a strong purpose. We also know that about 64% of consumers today are actively avoiding brands that don't believe in their societal views. And so, as IBM says, values really are as important as value. And some values that we really saw rise to the top last year are things like racial injustices, and of course, the basic human need for things like safety. So if we take a look at our first insight today, this is looking at retail pivot, which is really focused on how retailers were essentially pivoting both products and services to better meet the in-demand needs of consumers today. So it was really rooted in the idea of focusing on frontline workers and vulnerable communities. Now, one company that did this really well was IKEA. In fact, they created an entire campaign called #TogetherWithKindness, where they were able to deliver monetary donations, as well as physical products like masks and PPE equipment, including furniture, to local hospitals, and they even custom curated care packages for frontline workers and vulnerable families. However, safety does not stop there. Our next insight, domestic safety, takes a look at how brands were really stepping up to support domestic violence survivors during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, unfortunately, there was a 66% increase in domestic abuse amid the lockdowns just in the UK alone. However, brands decided that because they were deemed essential, they had the power to do something bigger. Boots, for example, is a pharmacy in the UK. Now they created the Home Isn't Safe for Everyone campaign, where anyone who was living in a domestic abuse or violent situation could go to a Boots pharmacy and seek the help they truly needed. Another example of a retailer who decided to help their consumers in a more playful manner is Somersault. This is an inclusive swimwear line. They created this JoyCast system, which is essentially a platform that consumers could use to call or text and receive uplifting content. So that could be anything from a meditation video to a quote, or even just a good old-fashioned gift to give consumers a bit of a laugh during a time of mental strain. Now, of course, we also saw this idea of Reevaluate Inclusive. Now, retailers specifically were reevaluating their brand strategy in order to better support the Black community. Now, in America alone, about 85% of consumers expect companies to help address racial insecurities. So what we see here is the rise of trends like the 15% pledge. Now, the 15% pledge was created by Aurora James. She is the founder of Brother Vellies, and she said that because Black people in the US alone make up about 15% of the population, she called on major retailers to essentially commit a minimum of 15% of their shelves to Black-owned or operated businesses. Now, as we can see, this is a trend that happened on a global scale, and retailers like Sephora were among the first to take the pledge. Then, of course, we saw more jumping on board, including the brand Target. Target also created a Black-owned and founded brand badge for their e-commerce platform in order to help consumers navigate that e-commerce space a little bit more seamlessly. So if nearly 90% of consumers today are saying that authenticity is a key factor when deciding what brands they like and support, how exactly are you showcasing your authenticity? Now, so that wraps up our second module on authenticity in the new normal of retail. Here are some questions for you to consider. How exactly are you communicating as well as actioning on your cultural, social, and political views?